Of course, that's Fangio on Caleb. What would a win over the Eagles mean for Caleb?
It would be validating. It would be everything. I mean, because I will concede all of the things that you guys have said about the Bears. That this is a step up in class. Like, that's all true. They haven't beaten a team with a winning record. Easiest strength of schedule. When they played good teams, at times that it looked lopsided. Like, that's all true. But, man, they've won 8 of 9. And so if we were going to rank vibes, Bears, top 5.
Oh, their vibes are great. That part is...
The vibes are excellent.
Even though good, better, best is one of the corniest post-game slogans there's ever been.
Top 5. Disagree.
You're writing down the... Wild's going to do a vibes ranking while you...
I would love you to do a vibes ranking. Just consider greatest quarterback in the history of the franchise and arguably greatest coach in the history of the franchise presently employed by the Bears. Factor that into your vibes rankings. Eagles' vibes are not. And so... I think there is just a time when, like, I can't show you a number that's like, this is the reason the Bears are going to win, though there are plenty in their favor. Best rushing team since their bye week, top in explosive plays. There are plenty of things that point to the Bears being good. It's just, I actually think they're going to pull off this upset.
Really?
I think they're going to win. Just like when we talk about the Patriots, we're like, well, that Bills game mattered a lot for them in terms of everyone else believing in them because they beat an established team. Or for the Broncos, when they beat the Chiefs, it was like, well, okay, now we got to take the Broncos seriously. That's what this opportunity is for the Bears on Friday, and I think they're going to do it.
Well, I don't think they're going to do it, but I do agree with you that this would be huge. This would actually make me, and I already believe in Caleb to a degree, and I think his potential is bright, his future is bright, but this would make me far more of a believer in him and in the Bears because – like you said, they haven't really beaten anybody. They beat one team with a winning record, Pittsburgh, which is on the decline, and they had a backup quarterback. This would be the first great win of Caleb's career.
No doubt.
Now, last year they beat the Rams, but that was in week 4, and the Rams started 1-5. They were struggling at that point, getting beat.
I personally really did enjoy beating the Packers in week 18 last year, but
that was when Malik Willis at quarterback. J-Lo was out. So. And then this year, like I said, when they've stepped up in class, so to speak, they've gotten hammered. And so this would be a phenomenal win. And the fact that Philly is coming off a bad loss and at home. It's in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is like, we got to right the ship and play well. So they're ready for this game. And if Chicago goes in there and wins, that would be huge. I can't overstate how big that would be for Caleb and for the Bears.
Well, listen, I want to ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Because Danny did his sleight of hand yesterday with here's the Patriots numbers. Oh, wait, no, it's really the Bears numbers. And it's not just strength of schedule, similarities here and that. Their resumes are similar in this regard. Both had week 1 losses to awful teams that look like, what the hell? Like the Patriots losing to the Raiders is the single most bizarre result of the season, I feel. And J.J. McCarthy playing like an all-pro for 15 minutes is the single most bizarre occurrence of the decade. So both of those. They both have, obviously year 2 quarterbacks, obviously new head coaches. If they win this game and they get to 9-3, you guys are sitting at 10-2. Do you think they will deserve the same type of respect?
Yeah, probably.
That we are, right, and I'm not even trying to...
the Pats aren't getting a ton.
Right, they are not...
So I think...
And so that's where I was going with it. Even though I think in your bones you feel like what the Patriots are doing is more sustainable than what the Bears are doing, and that may or may not be true.
And Drake May has been better than Caleb this year.
Oh, no question.
And so, having a quarterback that you 100% trust, whereas Caleb has been improving, but less consistent than Drake. I would even concede that.
So, no, I think Drake's definitely been better than Caleb, but I think the Bears' offense has been sneaky excellent. Now, maybe it's because of the run game and that Ben Johnson in Detroit built a lot of it off the run game. Explosives in the run game that then opens up stuff for downfield passing. Like the Bears in this football game, the reason I'm not going as far as you as saying I expect the Bears to win or I think they're going to win, but I did just pick the Bears +7 as one of my picks. And it's because I think they right now have the better offense. I think the Bears' offense is better than the Eagles' offense. And so you give me the better – do I think the defensive, deficits are enough to make it to where the Eagles should blow them out? I don't. I also think that if they win this game, we get to see a much more interesting Bears team the final 6 weeks, Danny, because by winning this game, I don't want to say they have games to play with, but they will have a margin of error where they're like, okay, we expect to make the playoffs. They have games. They have two. They have
both Green Bay games. They have the Detroit game. They have San Francisco, and they have Cleveland.
No, I understand, but if you get to 9-3, I think it would be a tragedy if you missed the playoffs. If they beat the Eagles on Black Friday to get to 9-3, and then
they'd be a heavy favorite.
But I don't think they should be thinking that way.
No, but I guess
if they win,
the point I'm making is I think you can start. I believe in the NFL. There's different types of coaching that you do throughout the year, and one of the coaching styles is preparing for the playoffs. You know what I mean? Trying to work on things that we are going to need in the playoffs. I think that if the Bears win this game, they get to start doing that. Like, all right, we're going to be in the postseason. Mm-hmm. What type of team do we want to be for the postseason? You disagree, Brew?
Yeah, I don't think they could count their chickens at that point. 9 wins. I get it. They're not likely to lose out. But with the games they have, Green Bay twice, as you mentioned, Detroit, like in that division, and in San Francisco too, I just think that would be.
But this is the hardest game. They don't have any game on their schedule that should be harder than at Philadelphia.
Right, at Philly.
No, I think they should go at it like we're still playing to win. Like Green Bay the next week. We can't say, okay, let's start working on stuff. Cleveland, okay, but still, that defense, like look at that schedule. That is tough.
Well, no, and especially because
I think they would make it if they probably would make it, but I'm just saying, you can't play around with those games.
Yeah, and the division would not be locked up because the Lions and the Packers are still really good. So I don't think that they would backslide in any way. But again, changing how everyone talks about you and all of a sudden it not being like, oh, this is a cute little story, and it being validating for everything. It would be validating for Ben Johnson, for Caleb, for the offense, for the record. And then you get to sit there and oh, they wake up as the 2 seed.
So what if it goes the other way?
Well, that would not be great.
Well, don't get blown out.
I don't think they have.
But it's like a free roll?
I think it's close to a free roll.
I mean, well, I think image-wise it's close to a free roll. Nobody's going to kill them if they lose by 4 or whatever. But where it does start to hurt you is just the playoff race, because the schedule's still so tough. So that's where it'd be a problem.
Can I add something to this conversation that I don't want to be misquoted on this? I am not saying this is how I would have it. But Brew, you did Brew's ballot this week, and it was very interesting because it's 2 quarterbacks and then a running back, a wide receiver, a defensive end for a 3-win team because what has become a quarterback-only award, it's hard to find 5 worthy quarterbacks. I do not think Caleb, and I know Danny doesn't, I assume you don't either, has played anything close to what I consider an MVP level. But there are a lot of folks that love the quarterback wins and the touchdown-interception ratio. And if in a standalone game, coming off a game that if you didn't watch Caleb last week against Steelers and just looked at the stat line's unbelievable.
Right.
Watching the game, it was good, but there was the awful moment and whatever it is. I truly believe that if they win this game, a sports TV topic is, hey, is Caleb Williams in the MVP conversation? If the Bears are 9-3, and they, but honestly, do you see?
Well, Wilds' conversations are huge.
No,
but I think it would be a conversation about being in the conversation would be warranted.
Which is where I don't even know where we've had those guys for. But if you
just had to list 4
5
or 5
quarterbacks, if it was all quarterbacks,
he's not a top 5 QB.
No, he'd be on the bubble.
But
I'd be like, who's on the bubble of this list?
Yeah, I mean, it's
and who does? You know what it'd be? Who deserves to be on the bubble? Who deserves to be on the bubble? Caleb Williams.
He'd be on the
fourth quarter comeback.
Right. That's the thing is the fourth quarter a lot of the soft data that can help somebody get MVP votes, if not first place. the clutch stuff, not turning the ball over, the comebacks.
He's got rushing yards.
He wouldn't be in the conversation to actually win it, but to get on the ballot as
it's
top
Stafford
5.
and Drake at this point to win it. But if somebody's going to have right now a 5-quarterback ballot, which a lot of the voters will, a lot of the voters are only going to vote for quarterbacks. If they win this game, like, I think his name pops up on it, which would be crazy.
In all of sports, it's time for packed stats. This is cool.
Thanks, Wilds. I think stats are cool too.
Well,
I
I
brought
say the two.
in this cool briefcase. Stat number 1. You mentioned it. Dak Prescott and George Pickens. The number is 134.4. As in the passer rating when Dak targets George Pickens. Why is that noteworthy? That's the second best quarterback to receiver passer rating through 11 games since Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. And Nick,
Your bar is too much. That's too much.
It's just
What do you mean?
Objectively, it's correct.
There's a question mark at the end of it. Is it
that's
the
fair.
new Mahomes to Tyreek?
No.
People are asking. Do numbers lie?
Yes.
Okay.
All the time.
I guess I kind of walked into that
Yeah.
one. I'm just saying, this trade and this pairing going this well, this soon, when there is legitimate question like, why is CeeDee Lamb dropping the ball so much? Is Dak targeting? Does he trust Pickens more than CeeDee? What's the ceiling for this? They have franchise tag not good enough. You have to sign him. Like, this duo has been everything Dallas thought it could be and more, and it's honestly been historically great.
Can I throw in a little addition on there?
Minimum of 90 targets, by the way. Like, you got get real sample size.
We ripped, to no end, the Micah trade. And I know it's probably more impactful than this trade, but they deserve credit for this trade.
They do.
And the Steelers are getting, I don't know, I'm not in Pittsburgh local radio.
They're getting a pass.
It seems
But
like,
here-
why do our offense could use George Pickens?
I think the reason they're getting the pass is a great trade for the Cowboys. And you guys know I've really liked Pickens a lot and talked about his talent. I think most people feel like, and I agree, he wouldn't be doing this in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Obviously, Aaron Rodgers isn't
Change
as
of
good
scenery
as Dak,
necessary.
but he was a problem in Pittsburgh. Like his attitude issues and all that stuff. He's been none of that in Dallas.
This has been awesome. I reject, not you've said this, the folks asking, is he better than CeeDee Lamb? He is not a better football player than CeeDee Lamb. He might be having a better year.
He's definitely having a better year.
And part of that CeeDee's injury, and part of that also, I think, is teams still treat CeeDee like the number one receiver, so he gets the more advantageous matchups. However, this is the maybe controversial part, I'm not ready to say this was a great trade by Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, because
what might happen in
it's not just the what might happen. It's I don't know. They didn't trade for him and sign him. So I don't know where. And so they have to keep him. Now you can have a 1-year trade where a guy leaves that works out great if you're going for a Super Bowl. But if this team finishes 8-1, misses the playoffs, and CeeDee Lamb signs for $40 million a year somewhere else. Pickens signs somewhere else.
Remember, they're only going for interesting.
Well, yeah. They're not.
Not signing Pickens at this point, even on the Dallas scale of calamity, would be pretty high.
Well, Jared said yesterday, I think, that he will be back.
Well,
but what does that mean? Franchise tag?
He also said that about Micah.
That's true.
And also, I'm telling you right now, the idea that George Pickens, who everyone's saying how great he is, Orlovsky's saying he might be the best receiver in football, is going to take the franchise tag and be happily, no problem.
Right.
I think that is
You do have to have
risk.
the basic contract year questions.
Yes.
Is he going to do this once
That'll
he
be a
gets paid?
big topic for the offseason.
Yeah.
All right, another cool stat. Other side of this game.
Okay.
How are they going to slow down Dak to Pickens? The Chiefs' defense. We talk a lot about Mahomes. I'd actually expect the Chiefs' defense to be the reason why you guys win this game.
There you go.
Against top 10 scoring offenses this year, those offenses against the Chiefs are averaging 8 points per game fewer, and that's a who's who. Ravens, Lions, Bills, and of course what we saw last week, the Colts. Mahomes was great in the fourth quarter and overtime of that game. The Chiefs' offense came alive, but they won that game against Indianapolis because Steve Spagnuolo's defense once again rose to the challenge. So when we're talking about, Dak and the Cowboys' offense, maybe the key to the whole game is your defense.
Listen, I think that, and there has been a lot of shots taken locally, I felt, and certainly questions asked about Chris Jones' production this year. And again, maybe I'm giving him a pass that I shouldn't, but I also think that a D tackle past 30 who's played 7 straight 20-game seasons, if he is, trying to make sure he has it for the finish line, I'm fine with that personally. And his impact in that game Sunday, he won us the game.
Yeah, he jumped off the screen.
And Jonathan Taylor, the 3 and outs, those were Chris Jones related. I am far more concerned about this than Mahomes' ability to carve up the Cowboys all of a sudden good defense. Because the Chiefs you're right that they've done it. They have not been able to generate a pass rush this season aside from Chris. And Chris, again, it's just kind of as of late. And Dak with time is deadly. And so this is actually the part of the game that concerns me the most. Is the Cowboys' offensive line going to give Dak enough time that we can't cover those great receivers?
Go ahead, sorry, bro.
Well, I was going to say, I'm with you, Danny. Like, I do think the Chiefs' defense clearly steps up in most cases when the competition is fiercest. And I don't think the Cowboys are going to have a heyday against that defense. So I said 27-24 Chiefs. I think they'll be able to hold them in check because that defense just
24 is still pretty good. When the Ravens scored 24, you're like, hey, they're scoring 24.
yeah, but for the Cowboys, if they hold them to 24, you feel good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd sign up for that, right?
I'd sign up for it right now.
And 27-24 is an under. Less than the total points expected.
What's the total points?
52.5. So right there, right on the number.
All right.
Bruce is sharp.
I'm ready for the next.
Ready for the last one?
Yeah. Cool.
This one's going to be a little bit of a journey.
Oh, these are the best. Statistical journeys.
Maybe makes it the coolest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Quarterback pressure is going to be the thing that decides Lions-Packers. So Jared Goff, when he's not pressured, has the highest passer rating in the NFL with a clean pocket. When he's pressured, his quarterback rating drops to 65, which is absolutely, it's a massive drop. Let's try to put it into context with the quarterback he's facing. Jordan Love, when not pressured, has the 4th best passer rating in the NFL, and he drops to the 29th best passer under pressure. So both of them are top 4 when it's a clean pocket. They are both well below average when they are pressured. What about the company they keep in terms of the differential? 2 40-year-olds. These guys, it would make sense. Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers don't want to be hit, so they get rid of the ball really quickly. These are the 2 of the 3 biggest gaps from clean pocket to pressured pocket for Love and Goff. So the question is going to be, which one of these guys is under more pressure in this game? That's a cool
I have to tell you something.
Here we go.
I like that.
This is a disaster for me, that graphic. Can you put that graphic back up? This is a disaster. Because when I thought this was just a Jared Goff thing, Danny, open your briefcase. I slid in there
messed with my
a tiny hand. But fair's fair. Rodgers, Flacco, and Love all have huge hands. Like Rodgers has like a historically huge hand. Jordan Love too. So I can't blame. I was like, obviously, this is about old tiny hands when he gets pressured. But he's up against giant-handed fellas, so it really threw off what my projected analysis was going to be. So then does that to you, Brew, mean the 2 most important people in this game are Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons?
I mean, according to that stat, yeah, for sure. Wow, that's interesting. Look, I like Green Bay. Obviously, I feel like this game could go either way.
Yeah, it's a close game.
When there are 2 good teams in a division, I tend to think you're not going to sweep.
Yep.
So that bodes well for the Lions. I'm hoping there's a sweep, obviously, with the Packers, but yeah, that's interesting.
Lions
you know what? That's beyond interesting. That's cool.
Wow.
That stat was cool.
Wow.
Victory!
Wow.
Lions are 5th in the NFL generating pressures. Packers are 14th. Lions have 3 more sacks this year than the Packers did.
Troy, can I put you on the spot? Which quarterback is great under pressure?
Drake May's number 1.
Drake May's been the best.
Did you know that?
Let's just call it. Let's just call it a segment.
Drake May's been unbelievable.
Woo!
Unbelievable.
I didn't realize he was number one.
Yeah, we were checking. And again, obviously everyone drops.
That's the thing. I feel like 20, like Mahomes is not good.
No, everyone drops. But again, those numbers are relative to the under pressure stats. So someone has to be the best under pressure. So ton of attention, as always, on the quarterback matchup in a spot like this. Willie, who do you trust more, Mahomes or Dak?
I trust Dak, but I even trust his offensive line more because if you look at the tape, I mean, their operation is clean because of how well they're playing up front. You know, he's been sacked 16 times on 134 pressures, which is outstanding for an offensive line that had a lot of issues prior to this year. And when you see him operate, it's because he has time in the pocket. He's throwing on rhythm. He's getting the ball out on time. We now view George Pickens differently because of how their relationship is transforming. And I think right now, if he wins this game, we really have to put him in the MVP conversation because he's just been playing that well, that clean, and that elite. So I love Dak. I love the Cowboys winning this one.
I can't see him entering the MVP conversation.
Don't be a hater.
It's not that. Dak has been unbelievable. I loved Nick's take on saying like he could be second team All-Pro. And they lost that Carolina game. They lost that Arizona game. They're in second place.
That loss has happened, though.
No, I know, but they're in second place in their division. Not a lock to make the playoffs. Far from a lock. I can't get there with you on MVP, but Dak has been incredible, Coach.
Yeah, Dak has carried this team.
He has been great.
The defense struggled so badly. Now they've made some improvements, and he's just carried them. And when you go into tomorrow's game, Dak's played really well on Thanksgiving. They've had almost a 17-point differential, winning differential over the last 3 Thanksgivings. So there's that. He's coming off the comeback victory. I like that as well. And then when you look at Patrick, the last 3 games, he's been under an 80 quarterback rating, which is the only other time he's has done that was 2019. So he's in a slump now. They won in overtime. I appreciate that, but the fact that they didn't score from the 3-yard line, first and goal from 3, that bothered me. So if it was one game that I had to win the Super Bowl, I would typically take Patrick.
Yeah.
But
going with them Cowboys, Coach. Say it with your chest. You can say it.
No, I'm saying it with my chest right now.
So it's funny. Like I can't show you a number or a trend that I care about that would say Mahomes over Dak because Dak has been better.
Yeah.
The Cowboys' offense has been better, but I trust. Man, I'm sorry.
Because you're going off his playoff resume. You're going off the fact that he wears the cape. But Dak has been equally good.
He's been better. He's been better. Right. But I will trust Mahomes. And I also will say, like you talked about the offensive line, I will trust the Chiefs' defense. The Cowboys' defense has been better recently.
Yes.
But like in terms of better relative to themselves, not better than the Chiefs.
They started off horrible.
Started off horrible. They've made trades. They've gotten a little healthier. But Spagnuolo comes to play, and he has had a tremendous amount of success against top 10 offenses. Detroit struggled with them, Baltimore struggled with them, Buffalo ended up getting to 27, but it was not an easy 27 for them. Like
I agree.
They've done a nice job. Last week against Indianapolis, they did a really nice job. So I just think it's a tougher matchup, Dak going against the Chiefs defense, than it is Mahomes going against the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I see that. Well, one thing that's interesting, though, is Kansas City now has had the same amount of turnovers of the last 4 games, 6, that they had in the previous 18 games. So it's really uncharacteristic run for them offensively. So that to me is problematic.
Have they solved it, or does that mean regression?
Which direction are we heading?
Right.
And last week, as the pick goes down to the 3-yard line, so it doesn't look like they've quite solved that, and it's going to continue trending in that direction. That could be a real issue.
I guess I think I'm just a little annoyed with your trust factor. Can you watch this Dallas team be down 2-1 zip and Dak put on the cape and wheel this team to victory time after time, either with George Pickens or if it was Ferguson? Like, he responded in a situation of football. That 4-minute offense was, teach tape because of the way Dak played.
Dak has been great. I don't want this to take away anything from him. Like, if it was Dak against Josh Allen, I think it's a different conversation.
I think me and Coach would be willing to be prisoners in the moment. And you're like, I have too much equity in who Patrick Mahomes is.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Guilty as charged.
No, and to your point, if I was going into a Super Bowl game.
And this is not the Super Bowl, I understand.
But in this moment in time, and at this point, Dak's playing better, and I think he's going to play better tomorrow.
Listen, the Cowboy again, I will say it's a weird thing, and I admit it. Like, the Cowboys' offense is better than the Chiefs' offense, has been. Dak has played better than Mahomes.
And
I trust Mahomes. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
The man went 1 for 6 in the red zone last week, and we're like, nah.
You're asking me to, like, Men in Black mind eraser the last 7 years.
Is that not what we do as analysts?
No, I don't think it is. I think we should factor it in, and we should factor in the sample and the body of the work and the trust and just the ability of, like, this is a big game with 50 million people
100%.
watching. I trust Patrick Mahomes in big games with 50 million plus people watching. It's been a pretty safe thing for the majority of my 30s.
Look, there are great players that go through periods where they don't play great.
That's true.
That's what the period he's going through right now.
Yeah, and again, I know people expect me to be like, and here's the number that tells you why. I'm like, nah, it's really just how I feel. It's just kind of how I feel. Coach, same question for this game. Who do you expect to have a better game, Burrow or Lamar?
It's hard to think that Joe Burrow is going to have a better game. He's thrown 36 passes the entire season. He's coming off of an injury, so there's that component of it. But these games have always been high scoring. It was at like 41-38 in overtime, something like that, and 35-34. So that's traditionally what it's been. It's not like the Bengals defense has suddenly gotten so much better during the course of the season. But Lamar's struggling. It's last three games, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, 71 passer rating, 57% completion, and he's got 20 rushes for 57 yards. So he's not running the ball very well, 2.85 yards a carry. And then he's been sacked 7 times, which is over 50% more than the rate he was being sacked last year. All of those things lead me to think that Joe Burrow has a chance to outdo Mahomes or outdo Lamar, even though he hasn't been playing.
Yeah, this has got to have it for Lamar. I think when you talk about what he's been able to do, it's been modest thus far, to your point, Coach. But historically, I'm going to take a page out of your book, Danny. This is what he looks like. You got the graphic. He dominates the
so it's okay for you?
I'm just saying. I'm playing by your rules.
What had happened?
He's 10-1 versus the Bengals.
This graphic was not conjured up in the last 90 seconds since I made my point.
My point is,
interesting.
With all that said, Lamar has to ramp it up. This team goes as he goes. I think he understands the urgency in the moment. There is no more room for letdown games. I expect him to play big. I think Derrick Henry's going to move the sticks. Mark Andrews is going to be big in the red zone. He's going to close games. That's what's expected of him, and I expect him to dominate the Bengals like he's done historically.
Yeah, and listen, I think sometimes we just want to make these conversations like, who's better, Burrow and Lamar? But you guys know better than I do. It's a matchup thing. It's who's healthy. It's who are you playing. It's where's the game. What's the weather? There's going to be a million factors here. And I know Lamar's been struggling. It's very hard for me to see Joe Burrow, having been out for as long as he's been out, coming in, going to Baltimore, playing against the defense that
holding teams under 20 points.
Right, six straight games holding teams under 20 points, and Burrow lights up this version of Baltimore. Now, if Lamar is just straight up hurt, okay, fine, but the Bengals defense has been a get-right spot for a lot of teams this year. So I'm putting my faith in the guy who's been playing, even if he's been playing banged up, as opposed to the guy going against the way better defense coming off the injury.
Yeah, but I went into the Jets game not thinking that we were going to see it 7-3 at the half with the Ravens trailing.
Totally fair.
I never expected that. And I get what you're saying about the guy who's been playing, but there is something to fresh legs, and there is something to being healthy, like physically healthy across the board. Now, I know we've got some rust that we have to knock off, but that
you would agree, though, these defenses are in different classes, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, they're in different classes. Baltimore's defense, though, has slowly emerged. It's not like they started in a different class.
I agree. No question about that. But I think now we have about a 6-game sample of Baltimore's defense rounding into form. Some of it against terrible opponents. No doubt this is a huge step up for them. It's a tough test for Burrow.
It's not even close. Bengals defense is garbage. They're not good. I expect Baltimore's defense and Lamar to put on a show tomorrow, and I expect Lamar to be the MVP. Hope not MVP, but.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.